Good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Seminole County Planning and Zoning Commission on December 2nd. If you're able, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just to make a few comments, first of all, let me introduce staff present tonight. Mary Moskowitz, our Planning and Development Manager, Bill White, our Professional Engineer at Development Review, Bill Wharton, our Transportation Planning Manager, Paul Chapak, Deputy County Attorney, Matt Davidson, Principal Planner, Dana Lee Paddock, Senior Planner, and Tammy Brushwood, our Clerk to the Planning Commission. Also present tonight is our board, Commissioner Walter Grundorf, way down on the end, Commissioner Stephen Smith next to him, the Vice Chair, Commissioner Carissa Lawhan, and next to me is Commissioner Bob Turnage. My name is Richard German. I'm the chairman. Just a quick comment on how we do things. Staff will present an item. We will ask questions of staff if we have any. The applicant then makes his presentation. We again will question the applicant on that application. Then we ask anybody from the audience to speak if for or against the item. If you want to speak, I saw some people already handing in their request to speak. Please do so. Fill out one of the speaker cards if you want to speak either in favor or against. Then we close the public comment. The applicant can then rebut or make comments or answer questions that the public ask. And then we ask further questions, if any, and then we will discuss it and make a motion to recommend approval or denial. We are only a recommending body. Our recommendation goes to the county commission, who makes the final judgment. So again, if you're against it or in favor of, regardless of what happens here, we recommend to the county commission to either pass or vote in favor of a particular application, or we may vote to recommend they vote against it. It still has to go to the county commission. So if you have an interest in that application, make sure that you know when the commission date is for that to be heard if you want to speak at the commission. All that being said, we'll go to accept proof of publication of this meeting. Do I have a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion.
A motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, then we have approval of the minutes of the last meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the previous meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any corrections? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Nobody? All right, we move to the first item on the agenda, which is a technical review item. We do allow the public to comment, though, if they have any, but this is just a technical review of a previous application. So with that, Matt, you're the man on this, I guess,
Yes,
right?
sir. Matt Davidson, Planning and Development Division. The applicant is requesting approval of the Shadowans Estate preliminary subdivision plan. The future land use of the subject property is Rural 5, which allows for one dwelling unit per 5 net buildable acres. The PSP proposes one lot within the East Rural area on 6.12 acres. The applicant and her family own over 300 acres of property surrounding the subject site. The proposed 6.12 acre lot will allow for the existing single-family home to be parceled off and transferred to the applicant under a separate warranty deed. The PSP complies with Chapter 35 of the Seminole County Land Development Code. The property is accessed through Indian Cypress Trail, which is an existing 70-foot private easement. Utilities will be provided by well and septic. Staff recommends approval of the preliminary subdivision plan for the Shadowans Estate subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions of Matt? None. The applicant, I know, is not present. Does anybody from the public have any comment on this application? Seeing no one, we'll move on. Anybody on the board have anything to say? Anybody want to make a motion then?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary subdivision plan for the Shadowins Estate subdivision containing one lot on 6.12 acres zoned A5, located 1 mile north of East Osceola Road.
I'll second that.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item is our mobility fee land development code amendment. I guess, okay, Bill, you're going to make a few comments.
Just asking for mercy and our continuance to your next meeting.
Okay, you want to move to the next regularly scheduled meeting?
Yes, sir. The
Okay.
6th of January.
And you'll get mercy if you made some changes and made answer to our recommendations. I assume you did,
Yes, sir.
or listen to maybe some of our suggestions, I hope. Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to table this item to the next regular?
I'll make a motion to table the mobility fees land development code amendment to the January 6th meeting.
Okay,
Motion,
second.
we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one?
Thank
See you
you.
next month with the new mobility. Okay. Next item is, who's doing that? Dana Lee, you.
Yep.
do it.
Good evening, Lee Paddock, Senior Planner. This request is for a small-scale future land use map amendment to preservation managed lands on 3 parcels totaling approximately 8 acres located in the Lake Harney Wilderness Area and Overlook Park, and a rezone to PLI, Public Lands and Institutions, for the county-owned and maintained natural lands areas on approximately 7,540 total acres located throughout the county. In 2008, the county adopted an administrative amendment to change the future land use of the properties under the county's natural lands program to preservation managed lands. This future land use designation was created with the intent to preserve open space, water resources, and significant natural areas through the natural lands program. A rezone of these properties to the corresponding zoning classification of PLI, Public Lands and Institutions, was not included in the 2008 amendment, and the properties retained their existing inconsistent zoning classifications. With the goal of further protecting these natural lands areas and to ensure their long-term preservation, Seminole County Leisure Services has requested this corrective rezone to remove the inconsistent zoning classifications and existing development entitlements, which include agricultural, residential, commercial, and industrial uses. With the rezoning to PLI, Public Lands and Institutions, the allowed uses on the properties will be limited to public parks, parkways, and reserves. The 13 natural lands areas included in the rezone request are Black Bear Wilderness Area, Black Hammock Wilderness Area, Chuliota Wilderness Area, Econ River Wilderness Area, Geneva Wilderness Area, Lake Harney Wilderness Area, Lake Jessup Wilderness Area, Lake Proctor Wilderness Area, Lee Tract, Overlook Park, Spring Hammock Preserve, Sullivan Tract and unnamed parcel, and Wilson's Landing. Approximately 8 acres of the natural lands properties located in the Lake Harney Wilderness Area and Overlook Park were obtained after the 2008 administrative amendment and are part of the requested small-scale future land use amendment from low-density residential and Rural 5 to preservation managed lands. Spring Hammock Preserve is not part of the future land use amendment request and will retain its inconsistent future land use designations. Several of the properties in Spring Hammock Preserve are owned by the state and leased to the county, and authorization from the state will be required for the large-scale future land use amendment. The county will bring this forward at a later date. The state has provided a statement of no objection to the rezoning of the state-owned lands in Spring Hammock Preserve, and they are included in the aforementioned rezoning request to PLI. Staff finds the Preservation Managed Lands Future Land Use Designation and PLI zoning classification to be consistent with the goals of the comprehensive plan and the county's natural lands programs and consistent with the Land Development Code. Therefore, staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a small-scale future land use map amendment from low-density residential and Rural 5 to preservation managed lands on approximately 8 acres, and adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 agriculture, A5 rural, A10 rural, C2 retail commercial, PD plan development, M1 industrial, M1A very light industrial, PLI public lands and institutions, and R1 single-family dwelling to PLI public lands and institutions for the county-owned and maintained natural lands areas on approximately 7,540 acres. That concludes planning staff's presentation, and leisure services will now make a short presentation. Thank you.
Good evening. Jim Doobie with the Seminole County Leisure Services Department, Greenways and Natural Lands Division.
Can I just pause for 1 second? People, okay. Okay, they say they can't hear, so if you can speak up.
Okay.
This is being broadcast. So thank you.
Okay. Jim Doobie, Seminole County Greenways and Natural Lands Division. Where's the slide?
Can you go to the next slide?
Just to give a brief history of the Natural Lands Program, the Natural Lands Program was established via a voter-approved referendum in 1990, which gave the county approximately $20 million to go and purchase and preserve for passive recreation, environmental education, and preservation, environmentally significant lands throughout the county. Another referendum was passed in 2000, which included $20 million for trails and another $5 million for natural lands acquisition. You can see the mission statement there. It's very clear these lands were to be purchased and preserved, used for passive recreation and environmental preservation and education. Next slide. And that's basically showing the types of passive recreation. The environmental education that we do have a facility at our Geneva Wilderness area, the Ed Yarborough Nature Center. We also have an agreement with the school board to operate the Environmental Study Center at the Spring Hammock Preserve. Next slide. And as Ms. Pettick said, earlier we did the future land use change back in 2008, I believe it was, and had not followed through with the zoning. That became very apparent earlier this year when we had an outside entity propose a swap for their private land for one of our natural lands. And what made that natural land so attractive was it was zoned planned development. And that kind of opened our eyes, and I really would like to give credit to Allegra Beyer, our new Natural Resources Program Coordinator, for kind of pointing that out and saying, why did we never change that? And I said, that's a good question. So that's why we're here tonight. It really is basically to clean up that inconsistent zoning. And I'm available for any questions.
Questions? I have one. Why are you including, there's a piece of property here that's in the path of growth, and I know the county never, I don't think has any intention of using it. You did have, but you don't now. It's down by Winter Springs. Part of it's in Winter Springs. I think part of it's in Oviedo, which is what, Overlook Park. Why would, maybe that could become a swap or a sale by the county to dispose of that land? So why would you leave that on this list and pull its rights, if you will?
If I understand the question, why would we include this?
Yeah.
Because it's established as a passive park, and as zoned residential, somebody could propose a swap basically the same way they did for the other one. It would be unusual, to say the least.
Well, maybe you didn't understand my question. In this case, though, Overlook Park, you're never going to use it if I think that's correct.
Well, it is a park. It is being used as a passive park right now.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of a different piece. I apologize. I'm thinking of the piece right at 417 and 434.
No, that sounds like Jetta Point.
Jetta Point. I apologize. I'm thinking of a different parcel.
I'm not sure that Jetta Point is included in this.
No, it's not.
included
It's
in
not.
this.
That, my fault. My fault. I stand corrected. I apologize. You're right.
Okay.
Any other questions after I ask the dumb one?
No, we'll let you continue.
Thank you.
Okay.
We have quite a few people that want to speak on this application. And we also have some on Zoom, I think, Mary. Do any of those want to address this particular application?
We are having a little trouble on the Zoom meeting. People are saying they can't hear. I don't know. We have the volume on.
you want me to go ahead and take those present while you work on that?
Yeah, I would recommend doing that.
Okay. Lillian Presley? You want to speak on this application? You're opposed? Okay.
I live on the street and see a lot of things happening, like we have a lot of riffraff going down in the park. People that don't live there are doing,
Listen, if you're going to go ahead and speak, then you need to come up and be on the record. And if you would, please state your name and address for the record.
okay. Lillian Weber Presley, 1840 Spring Avenue, Oviedo, 32765.
Go ahead.
Okay. I've been there 29 years, and I've seen a big change recently since the park has been there, that there's a lot of people that are coming down our street that don't live there, and all of a sudden, we see more police coming, and something's not right. People are coming, and like, I've had my mail stolen several times, people that don't live there. I think anything that's going to be done in the park doesn't need to be there. I mean, we're a small, very small community, even though I think we have about 100 homes down there, but we're all very protective of each other, and we don't want anything building, anything going on. We don't want riffraff. We have a lot of cars speeding down the road, speeding back, and the more complaints we make to the county, we're just looking out for each other.
Thank you. Just to be clear, this application is strictly a technical cleanup of zoning. It has nothing to do with its current operation or use or otherwise. So if you've got issues, you need to take that up with the leisure department.
And we have, and nothing's happened.
Well,
But I'm opposed.
he's here tonight, so he's heard your
yeah.
comment.
I'm just opposed to any change of the zoning. Totally
Okay.
opposed to it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we have Denise Grasso. Do you want to speak? No. Okay. Are you opposed? You're opposed. Okay. Jerry, is that, wow. Ward? Wood. Okay. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name's Jerry Wood. I'm a landowner adjacent to the entrance to the Overlook Park. I do understand the premise that this is an advisory board, and I think that's very important for people to understand. But I also, in discussing this with some of my neighbors, said this also is a very good opportunity to put some things down, especially in writing, about issues and concerns regarding this development, because it will be going to the county commission. So having said that, I try to confine my comments mostly to the zoning issue. I did talk with Mr. Pando? Pando? Is he here? Is he here tonight?
Bill Pandos is not here. No.
Okay, and he and I had a good discussion, and he did say, well, similar to the chairman, that this rezoning has nothing to do really with the operations. This is simply cleaning up a zoning conflict. With all due respect to Jim Doobie, who I've known for some time, I've never heard of anybody forcing the county into a land swap, so I'm not sure that I bought that reason. And so, being a suspicious person, I'm an environmental engineer, PE, I look at the details. I wasn't quite sure that I could understand what the difference was between the new zoning and the old zoning. So having done a little bit of research, and we only had 1 week to do this, by the way, and it wasn't sufficient time to engage a zoning attorney, and we couldn't even bring a court reporter yet. We didn't get that organized. But I'm not convinced that there isn't a difference between the land use rights under the new zoning category and what exists in the county under the R1 zoning. I also would like to point out, as a separate issue, that there are a lot of things done to put that park in operation that I don't believe met the development code. And I'm concerned that allowing this property to be rezoned could actually varnish over or cover up some of those deficiencies. And so to the degree that operations might be separate from zoning, it's quite possible that they're really not. This is a park where people stay and eat, has no sanitary facilities, there's no potable water, there's insufficient parking for the space that's available, just to mention a couple issues. And so I've advised some of the people that I help to look into those things. Mr. Panda did agree to discuss some of these issues, but I also felt that it was a good time to put those questions down on the table, and I have not received any succinct description of the difference, if there is one that exists, between the development rights of the public land and institutional land category, is that right? And R1, a park being placed on R1 land under the program that purchased the property. Before I go, I'd like to say that as far as I know, and I've been here the same 29 years, I do not believe that this park went through the development review process that most developments would have to go through. There was no traffic study. There was no review of how that park was actually going to operate, security, enforcement of the rules, opening and closing times. So some of this stuff is actually going to come back to the commission, but I felt that it was important to lay some of this on the table, and I did so in writing with Mr. Panda and Ms. Patek. So, just trying to be upfront about it and get the issues on the table. And at this time, I would not be necessarily opposed or in favor of the zoning. I think it should be postponed until someone can give a clear, definitive review of what the difference of the county's land use rights are under the new designation versus the old designation. And the other operational issues will find their way into discussion and resolution in a proper time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wood.
Thank you.
Next is Joe Hurley. Did you want to speak?
Mr. Doobie, did you have any replies to any of that?
I'm not.
Okay. Hello, I'm Joe Hurley. I live on 1740 Lake Street, and I guess my concerns are the same thing about Overlook Park. We don't see the scenic views that you see up on the screen. A lot of male genitalia, but nothing like that. My question is, if this is a corrective action on an R1 lot, was the park built correctly? I mean, is this park in the wrong spot? I mean, should it be there? Was it done correctly? If this is R1, which is residential one house per acre, was the park allowed to be there in the first place? So that's my question to whoever can answer that, if that's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Yolan Ravino? I'm sorry, you ready to speak?
I don't need,
Okay.
but I am.
Then we have a couple in support, Cindy Holler.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so good evening.
State your name, address for the record, please.
Okay, no problem. Cindy Holler, 1731 Beacon Drive, Sanford. So thanks for your service. I wouldn't want this volunteer job at all. Anyway, I wanted to say Overlook Park, I'm not familiar with it all, so I'm not sure what these folks are talking about. I'm near Black Bear Wilderness area, and I'm totally in support of this item number. So I think it makes a lot of sense to, as he said, clean up the inconsistent zoning. I do have a question about funding for future preservation purchases, and maybe that can be addressed when he comes back up. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Natalia Rodriguez?
Hello. 362 Seminole Avenue, Lake Mary.
State your name too, please.
Oh, Natalia Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Hello. I am here in support as well as an avid Florida hiker, and I appreciate the natural lands, and quite frankly, I think we're running out of them. So keeping the zone or zoning them appropriately is very, very important, especially with some of the overdevelopment that's happening in this county. Again, I also don't understand about Overlook Park. I've visited that park. It's been a hot minute, but Black Bear Wilderness, Spring Hammock Preserve, I know that's not on the table right now, but that is of the utmost importance to maintain. So yeah, that's why I'm here, and I'm here to support. We need more of that. And I too, just with Cindy Holler, I'm also wanting to know more about preservation. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mary? Mary, how are we doing with anybody online?
We are having some technical difficulties. They cannot hear us, or very muted here, so I'm going to let them know that they can, I have some people who have made comments on other items in the chat feature, and I'm going to let them know they can make comments as well, and I will read them into the record for you. So if you will bear with me for one moment while I do that.
Okay.
Thank you for your participation.
Mr. Chairman, I had another question.
Okay, I mean, normally you get to speak once, but go ahead.
Well, is it possible to sever, these are all lumped together?
Mr. Chairman, we're on the record, so he needs to.
Yeah, you got to get up, please.
And with all due respect, I left out, I didn't recognize the fact that these were all lumped together, and in my preliminary evaluation, that posed a problem all by itself, because you're lumping a 3-acre park in an enclave subdivision with a 1,000-acre wilderness area, and it's kind of treating them all the same and brushing them on down. And I don't know if it's even possible to sever one of the items in this proposal from the actual proposal.
For the record, is there one you're specifically?
Overlook Park.
Overlook Park, okay.
Yes, sir, and I didn't know if that's even something that,
We'll let staff address that when it's his turn to speak, but thank
okay.
you. I just wanted to be
I
on the
thought
record.
that would be important.
Thank you. How we doing, Mary?
Nobody's written any comments in for the natural lands item, but there are people participating that can listen on SGTV if they want to listen to the meeting. And I have somebody who's typing one in right now.
Okay, well, then we'll let staff respond to some of the comments. Who's going to respond for the applicant?
Lee Paddock, Senior Planner. It is possible to take any of these parks or natural areas out of the ordinances. They are separated by legal description. We're just doing them all at once because they're all the
Understood.
parks and areas that are managed under the natural lands. So our preference is to keep them all together and do this as one process. And just to clarify, Spring Hammock Preserve is part of the rezone. It's the future land use amendment for Spring Hammock Preserve that's coming at a later date.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other responses to any of the staff comment or the public comments?
Again, Jim Doobie, Greenways and Natural Lands Division. On the questions about future efforts for preservation, there's been a desire to do that again. It's all about timing. We were actually on the road towards that when COVID hit this spring. So I think the desire is there. It's just waiting for the right timing. So, was there another question that, I think, I agree with the operational issues. Bill Pandos is my division manager, and I spoke with him many times today after we spoke with Mr. Wood. We're certainly willing to meet with the residents out there and try and work through some of those problems. We do have regular communications with the sheriff's department. They really are the law enforcement arm for us. We don't have those powers, but we're certainly willing and able to meet with residents and try and work through those.
I'm curious, though, how come we went this many years without anybody really catching this, if you will, and properly putting everybody in the right slot?
The rezoning, I think it was really that
Just an oversight?
well, yeah, it was the proposal this spring that kind of called our attention to it. Maybe there was thought, because it went through the natural lands, or was purchased through the natural lands program, which really puts an overlying restriction on the use of those properties.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't thought as important until this event where that proposed swap was made earlier this year.
Any questions by the board? Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a comment from David Bayer. I am the president of Save Rural Seminole. I have registered and intended to speak tonight, but there seems to be some technical difficulty. I wanted to comment that while this amendment is far from perfect, it is a good thing for conservation of our natural lands. He continues, I was part of the team who presented the 3 plans to make sure that the swap danger would not happen again. This is, I apologize, it moved a little bit. This is not that. However, the rezone, again, is a positive thing, and the rezone should be approved. However, I want the P&Z panel to understand that this rezone does not provide all the protection that the land needs. There can easily be rezoned out of protection. This is why the 3 proposals that we previously made to the county are important to ensure that the swap never happens again. Please do not drop the issue and work to ensure the greater levels of protection and implement.
Okay. Any others?
I do have, Mr. Humphreys had wanted to comment, but was having difficulty with the
Did he say?
format. That was the general
Didn't say what he wanted
comment.
to comment about?
No.
Okay. Any other discussion by the, well, I guess that, anybody else in the public want to speak on this application? Did you have a? I just didn't get step forward, give that to Tammy over here, and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name's Noreen Kester. I live at 1641 East Sandpiper Trail in Castleberry, and I just wanted to say I am in support of the hopefully corrective zoning of this item. I too really love to hike and get out in the woods, and I'm so sorry for the folks that are having trouble with that one park, but those, the other natural lands areas such as Spring Hammock, Black Hammock, I really appreciate those sites, love to hike on them, and would hate to see them be used for anything but passive recreation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Any discussion by the board?
No.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a small-scale future land use map amendment from low-density residential and rural 5 to preservation managed lands on approximately 8 acres, and adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 agricultural, A5 rural, A10 rural, C2 retail commercial, PD plan development, M1 industrial, M1A very light industrial, PLI public lands and institutions, and R1 single-family dwelling to PLI public lands and institutions for the county-owned and maintained natural land areas on approximately 7,540 acres.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? No. If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing no one, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item.
Brandon, you need to get back. Thank you.
Good Good evening, Lee Paddock, Senior Planner. This request is for a rezone from A1 Agriculture to R1A Single Family Dwelling for a two-lot single-family residential subdivision on 0.72 acres located on the south side of Homeward Lane, approximately 300 feet east of West Lake Brantley Road. The applicant is requesting the rezone in order to subdivide the property into two single-family lots. The property has two existing single-family residences that were constructed in 1963 and 1977 and are considered non-conforming under the Seminole County Land Development Code. If the rezone is adopted, the structures must either be removed or brought into compliance prior to subdivision of the property. The subject property currently has a future land use of low-density residential, which allows a maximum net density of 4 dwelling units per net buildable acre. The subject property is surrounded by the same future land use designation on all 4 sides. Staff finds the requested R1A single-family dwelling zoning classification to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and compatible with the trend of development in the area, which consists of single-family residential developments of similar lot size and density. Therefore, staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 Agriculture to R1A single-family dwelling for 0.72 acres located on the south side of Homeward Lane, approximately 300 feet east of West Lake Brantley Road. Thank you.
Questions to staff on this? No? Is the applicant present? Do you want to add anything? No. Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Anybody from the public want to speak for or against this item? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing. Motion, comments?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 Agriculture to R1A Single Family Dwelling for .72 acres located on the south side of Homeward Lane, approximately 300 feet east of West Lake Brantley Road.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? No. Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, number 5. You're getting all the work tonight, Dan.
Yep. Good evening, Lee Paddock, Senior Planner. This request is for a PD major amendment and rezone from A1 Agriculture and PD Plan Development to PD Plan Development on 50.49 acres located on the east side of Old Lockwood Road, approximately 1/2 mile south of Lockwood Boulevard. The Red Ember Estates Plan Development was approved on October 8th, 2019 as a single-family residential subdivision on 40.43 acres with a maximum of 76 lots, a density of 2.3 dwelling units per acre, a minimum lot width of 70 feet, and a minimum lot size of 8,400 square feet. The applicant is requesting the major amendment and rezone to incorporate an additional 10.06 acres into the existing plan development to create a single-family residential subdivision on a total of 50.49 acres with a maximum density of 2.35 dwelling units per net buildable acre and a maximum of 95 lots. The previously approved lot width and size will remain the same. Staff finds the proposed development to be compatible with the surrounding area and consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development code. Therefore, staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 Agriculture and PD Plan Development to PD Plan Development and approve the associated development order and master development plan for approximately 50.49 acres located on the east side of Old Lockwood Road, 1/2 mile south of Lockwood Boulevard. Thank you.
So in summary, we're adding 10 acres to an existing PD and adding about, what? 19 lots.
19 lots,
Okay.
10 acres.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of staff?
No.
The applicant present?
Hi there, Chadmoorhead with Chadmoorhead and Stokes, 431 East Horatio Avenue. You guys, this board, recommended approval of the original PD about a year ago. We actually went through the PSP process and also final engineering on the original approval. We actually have approval to go build that. Then these two 5-acre parcels became available. Client purchased one, has the other one under contract. And so you can see the two 5-acre parcels that are there and all of the other buffers, everything else remains the same from what was previously approved. So we're here asking for your recommendation for approval. And if there are any comments from the public, I'd like to get back up and be able to rebut, or if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Questions of the applicant?
I don't.
The site plan obviously changes, or what's built there, Chad? Is there anything built there yet?
Nothing's built yet.
Oh, okay.
No, I do have.
So it's a redesign?
I can show you the PSP that came before the board. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly when it came, but. There we go. So be an extension of this cul-de-sac on this parcel and an extension off of this particular roadway here up into this area.
And between those two, they'll add 19 lots?
Yes, sir, and a retention pond. You can see, if we go back to the original, actually, I got it right here.
Contemplated for same-size lots, Chad?
Yes, same size lots and a retention pond in this corner right here. That's what's,
Okay.
yeah, so it's not complete lots. There's also additional retention added there.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions of
No.
the applicant? We had one present that wanted to speak, Janet Christensen. Do you want to speak, Janet? Take your time.
That's okay.
Mary, while she's getting up there, do we have any,
I do have a comment from Alinda Rossell. Woodland Estates, a community of 5-acre parcels, is being surrounded by new communities. Those new communities have access to fiber optic cable, meaning high-speed internet. Currently, only AT&T provides the service in Woodland Estates, and the speed is inadequate, especially with so many people now working from home. AT&T has indicated the main source boxes on Old Lockwood Road are equipped with the fiber optic cable, and they would just need to be run down Fawn Run, Scrub Oak, and Red Ember. Since they are already available at all new subdivisions, will also be run to Red Ember Estates. We request that the commissioners require high-speed internet service be made and available to the residents of Woodland Estates.
thank you, okay. Janet, go ahead, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Janet Christensen. I live at 2247 Red Ember Road, Oviedo, Florida. I know the first part of this has already been cleared. However, I was opposed to that. I'm opposed to these two because there's a water problem on Red Ember Road already. When they go building up the houses, I'm afraid it's going to all run in my lot. Right now, I'm in a no-flood zone. I have been all the years I've lived out there. The traffic is going to be something fierce. Now they want to build more homes on 2 more lots, and we're going to increase the traffic. I'm very much opposed to this, and I wish that there was something we could do about it. However, I know that we're not going to have the country living that we're used to. We're not going to have we've already seen, we've had bears in our yard already. We've seen bobcats in the neighbor's yard. We're going to have a lot more wildlife. I mean, and I'm just opposed to making it any larger than what it already is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak for or against this application? Did you fill out, do you want to speak? Come on up, bring your speaker card to Tammy, please, and then state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, my name is Jacob Hill, and I live on the lot on Red Ember, just right next door to where they want to put the retention pond at. So if we're looking at that map, we live right next to the blue lot on the south side of on the map. Let's see, the current plans have a big retention pond going right next to the 5-acre lot that I live on, and that water would then overflow into my backyard. That is the drainage plan. That was approved on June 23rd. Right now, if we go back 2 slides, all that area denoted in the blue is all wetland area, so the area on red amber is already wet, and the current drainage plans are pushing all the water from the north side of the road into a big retention pond on the south side of the road, and then trying to put it essentially further into the wetland. So the water, the flood areas that are denoted and the wetland areas that are really denoted on this map in blue would only further be agitated. And I understand the drainage plan, but I also have concerns on the excess water we're bringing from the north side of the road to the south side of the road. And the secondary concerns on that would also be, right now, Red Ember is a dirt road, and the plans that were approved so far would only pave it up into where the road starts to curve, and there will be an increase in traffic. So if we're looking at 94 homes, 2 cars per home, that's 188 cars per day going down this road, plus Amazon, FedEx, Pizza Hut, Papa John's. So my ask would be, or my concern would be to, if we're going to build the development, to try to pave the road up until, at least to the portions that are owned on the property, because right now it's a dirt road. Those are my concerns. And
Thank
that's all
you.
I'm saying. Thank you for your time.
Any other? We have one more. Come on up. Please give that to Tammy and then state your name and address for the record.
I'm Ken Rems from 2528 Fawn Run and 2468 Fawn Run. And this is my daughter.
Melinda Reams from 2428 Fawn Run, which backs up right up to the back of one of the new properties that's being rezoned tonight.
So she's an adjacent landowner. We're concerned about water control. It has been a problem for both Red Ember and Fawn Run. And I would just request that in the county's planning that they keep at the forefront of their crosshairs the water problem that new developments present. And they do need to be mitigated, and wouldn't be the first time that we got flooded due to new buildings. I've been there 34 years or so, and I've seen a lot of development do damage. So please, if you're going to do that, make sure a caveat is that water control is a must. I also like Linda Russell's comment on the fiber optic options. That would be a good barrier to overcome. So that would be a step in the right direction also. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
So I have some comments that have been provided. The first one is from Gabriel Burrows at 3109 Scrub Oak Trail Woodland Estates. I have a big concern for the drainage issues. I'm also opposed to the additional lots. And then the next comment I have is Danielle Draper at 2296 Red Ember Road, Woodland Estates. Major concerns with drainage issues as well on the road, as well as the existing homeowners' properties, opposed to the additional homes on the 2 lots. And then finally, a comment from Joseph Humphreys, opposed to the additional homes on the 2 lots.
Okay, thank you. You wanted to speak?
Natalia Rodriguez, 362 Seminole Ave, Lake Mary. Even though I live in Lake Mary now, I actually was raised in Oviedo. I've been there since it was dirt roads, and it's a beautiful place, and quite frankly, it's overdeveloped. Oviedo people are mad, really mad. And, excuse me, I tend to get emotional about trees. But just because you have 5 acres additional and you got your hands on it does not mean you should develop it. There are people who don't want it. They just, that's 10 acres of bear habitat. When are we gonna start thinking about bears, eagles, hawks, trees, they matter too, and they are important, and that right there doesn't look like much, but it is, and it means something to every single person who lives there, including my whole family. Excuse me, I'm not used to this. Sorry, I do not do public speaking well, as evidenced by right now. But I feel so strongly about this. I didn't know I was gonna come up and talk about this. I didn't know about this, but again, just because you have access to 10 extra acres does not mean you need 20 plus additional homes. You know, I think we're at the precipice. Environmentally, we're about to change. We need to start going the other way, saving lands. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Name and address for the record, please.
Nick Cirillo, 2272 Red Ember Road. I'm opposed to this. A couple of my major concerns are relating to the paving of the road. When they got the last development approved, their entire justification for only paving the first third of the land that they owned was that they would need easements from each of the properties that they still hadn't bought yet. Now they've bought another one on that other side of the road. They could easily pave the first half mile of Red Ember and still be in a part of the road where they own both sides of it, as opposed to just doing this first third and then washing their hands of it. And then, you know, it might not be a big issue for the first year, but it's going to be terrible after 2-3 years. Even if they stabilize it, which I think they call for on their plans, what are they going to use to stabilize it? Over on Fawn Run, they stabilized it just using crushed concrete, and that hasn't held up. If we have dry months, it creates a ton of dust anytime the cars are driving up it. And it's just been a major issue that you can see anytime that you're over on Fawn Run, car goes by, you're surrounded in a massive cloud of dust. Other issues that were brought up by some of the other neighbors, the stormwater is a big problem. We've had flooding, we've had the road washout. I know we're putting a lot of extra water into that wetland that should be held on those properties. And I think they haven't put out the official new site plan for it yet, but if they are planning on taking all this water and pumping it across the road and into the wetland, that's just introducing a lot of extra water into something that already, you know, floods given heavy rains. Because there are 3 pipes that go under Scrub Oak, and if they reach capacity, it floods all of Scrub Oak, and this has happened recently. Yeah, I know. Other issues, the neighbors have brought up the internet issues that we have, so we'd like to try to get that included. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Did I see another hand?
Yes.
Either one of you? Well, both. Give that to Tammy, please. Thank you. And your name and address for the record.
My name is Lae Cindenzirillo. I live on 2272 Red Ember Road. Thank you for this opportunity to talk. I like freedom. I'm from China, by the way. I oppose this 10-acre because I live right next to the last one they just bought from the State College. And imagine all the trees and the pretty trees are going to be cleared out. And I feel bad for the deers and all the animals and turtles living there. And also they're going to invite a lot of people look into my yard and invade my privacy. I'm not happy about that. And I'm also extremely concerned about the water problem because right now they're building the Hyde Cove and it's already flooding my neighbor's backyard because they bring so much dirt and reeds their house they're going to sell. So they're going to do the same thing right next to my lot, and the rain and the pave, they're going to pave their road. It's going to run into my yard, and I'm really concerned. And also, the road, right now the developer bought the land, and they bought a year ago, and has not maintained the road at all, and I'm pregnant, and we have to drive on this bumpy road every day, and it's terrible. And last time when you guys give them okay to build the first give them okay to build the first part without this 10 acre. They said they're going to stabilize the road, and it's going to add the responsibility to the HOA. And I don't trust any HOA. I've seen so much problem around there about HOAs. And nobody's going to make a commitment, maintain the road. And we have to live there years after years and generation after generation. Who's going to care about that? So that's why I'm not happy. And also, when they build the neighborhood across over there, Hideaway Cove, they burned all these trees. Well, that's real sad. But they burned all the trees and all the ashes flow over to my yard. And my deck, my pool is completely black. And we contact them, there's nothing we can do. So right now, they're going to build 95 houses right next to me, and I don't know what is their plan for that. Are they going to burn it again? They're going to mulch them? So there's a lot of concerns. I feel powerless right now standing here talking. And I really hope my voice can be heard, and I really think you guys can help us. And at least, to make sure they're doing the things the right way, So that's what I want to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I see one more hand? Step forward, please. Did you fill out?
No, I'm sorry, I came late.
Pardon me?
She came late.
Oh, okay. If you would, when you're finished, would you fill out one of the speaker cards so she has the record? Okay. Go ahead and state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi, my name is Wafa Esposito, and I live at 5040 Hawks Hammock Way. This Sanford seems to be a very similar neighborhood to the one I live at, where a patch of wetland is allowed to be built at. I can guarantee you in the section of my neighborhood where they had the 1 house acre that back then was approved at all costs, there was a lot of opposition to that. It's barely holding well in a wetland. Now, this is considered very high density considering all the wetland around it. You would like really, I've been really coming to meetings and inviting the county to come and have a look at the 15-year-old community and see what has been the impact of water. It floods when it rains in the summer. The ditch, in our case, I don't know what the ditch in their case. What I'm saying, you need to plan out the infrastructure and make sure the calculations so they don't go through what we're going through. Basically, soon with this practice, you're going to have neighborhoods that have structural damages to the foundation. And you can tell that. If you come and visit, I'll show you. The water sucks up like a sponge. The walls sucks up like a sponge, and you can see the water, and you can see the cinder blocks and the cement. This is just not good. This is long-term. It's going to turn to a bad neighborhoods. They're going to lose value, and so on and so forward. You have a very big responsibility here, and I really invite you to have a look at this and work accordingly to the land so people do not get flooded and come and complain to you like we do complain to you. And also, there is this big trend. A lot of counties had voted 70% to protect the environment a little bit more. Maybe you should consider having a little bit more of native trees in the lands that get built. Not overbuild it by taking away all the trees. Work around some oases in each of these communities so they look attractive and the population of the birds and the little animals can survive and so on and so forward. It's just because we are called the Seminole County, Florida Natural Choice, we need to work a little bit more toward that goal and keep it that way. And this will only appreciate with time. The value of the county, the homes, the neighborhoods will only appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I do have some additional comments in the chat. Grace Riviera shares concerns on to what is being done to ensure the well water quality is not impacted. And then Mr. David Baer on Red Oak. I am David Baer, the president of Save Rural Seminole. The owners of Red Ember, of course, have a right to some development on this newly acquired land, but they do not have a right to the density they are asking for. Frankly, they should not have been given the density they were given in the first place of this project, and the error should not be exaggerated. This land is adjacent to the econ and is contiguous with vast areas of conservation. We should have transition from the higher density, which is on the west side, progressively lower to the east. Mr. Humphreys also, who had commented before, left information on his contact information, which is 883 Cardinal Point Road, Cove, and he also noted that the taxpayers of Seminole County are fed up of fighting the county to help protect their property. Oh, and a little bit more from Mr. Baer, rather than just continue the high density all the way down the river.
Anything else, Mary?
That is it in the chat, and I believe everybody who is in the meeting has left a comment.
All right. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? If not, I close the public hearing. Chad, you want to answer some of the concerns and comments, please?
Sure. I don't think I can do anything about the internet out there. I think, I just, if the subdivision has fiber run to the entry, I'm sure it'll be closer to the folks that live back there, and hopefully it'll be less expensive for AT&T or whoever to run it back there. But that's not something that I can really do anything about. The drainage and traffic, we heard about that at the initial zoning. Mr. White will attest that he held us to a much higher standard probably than a normal development and what's already been approved through that final engineering process. So the drainage will be, should be much improved over what's there today. As far as density goes, this map shows perfectly. It's low density residential land use right now, future land use, which is up to 4 units an acre. The subdivision just north of us was built and approved at 3.67 units an acre. We're asking for, I believe, 2.38. So, you know, we're right in line with what's been previously approved out here. So that's all I have.
Red Ember Road?
Red Ember Road, again, it'll be written in the HOA documents that the HOA has to improve that.
Are you going to pave any additional since you added some acreage?
No, that's not in our program.
Can we see the plan again then?
I was going to say, I gave that in for public record, so let us get it back here. Actually, the old PSP. Is that it? Yeah, so we're paved to there.
Paved to where?
To our entry.
Okay, so though I just want to establish for the record that Red Ember Road is not being impacted other than what you're paving by this subdivision. So all the traffic coming from this subdivision will be on the road that you paved.
Correct.
And the rest of it is not even being impacted at all by the subdivision.
We're going to stabilize it, and we'll get it up to, I guess, somewhat of a standard. We had a typical section when we came before, but all along our property frontage, we will stabilize past the...
But no traffic?
But no, absolutely, no
Yeah,
traffic would, I mean, we can't preclude people from going down there, but you would think that they're going to come out, you know, go towards Old Lockwood.
No, I understand.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, where's the outfall on your retention ponds? Where's it going to go?
It goes to the south into the wetland down here.
Okay.
How about the other retention pond? I think that neighbor said on the other new piece.
It's all going to wind up coming right back here.
From, okay.
Even from this pond that we're going to have over
Yeah,
here.
that's what I'm talking about. That's
Yes.
coming back.
Yes, what happens now is it goes down Red Ember, goes to the east. There's a couple of 24-inch pipes that somebody put in. There's no easements or anything over them. So the county had asked us to basically control this water and get it into the wetland in a more controlled manner than how it is right now, which is
So
all over the place.
that eastern pond, Chad, how are you getting that to your main pond? Yeah.
It's going to be piped back. All of these ponds are interconnected, and so they'll have one main outfall there going to the
That'll
south.
be new pipe that you'll run back. So
Yes.
that resident was concerned that it might flood his yard, so that's not the case.
No, the drainage
It's going to blow off
should
into
be
your.
better.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I know you closed the public meeting, but I did receive one more comment.
That's okay, we'll
question.
listen.
Okay. This is from Debbie, no last name. Will the same runoff problem occur on the west end of Ember Road that is currently occurring on the north end of Hyde Cove and 2308 Red Ember? The county is aware and refuses to address this issue. How do you plan to prevent the remaining dirt road and Red Ember from being washed out from the water flowing from the paved portion of the road?
We have inlets to pick that stormwater up on the paved portion and bring it into the site.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, Mr. White, if he nod his head or something, but I promise you, he held us to a high standard. He heard all this a year ago when we went through the zoning, and believe me, I got grilled going through the approval process. A lot of extra stormwater modeling,
Chairman?
extra attenuation.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
When you take care of Red Amber Road, when you do the subdivision, is that going to be the extent of your maintenance on there? You won't have anything to do with it after you improve it?
No, the HOA, there'll be a schedule for maintenance in the HOA to maintain that dirt portion.
Okay, so you'll continue to maintain it up to?
Yes, they have to. Everybody,
The property line?
what Red Ember is a private easement, and everybody that owns a portion of it, they're to maintain their particular portion is the way it's been done over history out there.
Okay.
Except for the first part of the road, which will become public right away.
It's not public, it's still private. We're still, I can't remember, Paul, we had asked you if, the county attorney, we'd asked him if the county had an issue with it becoming public if we chose to do that. So it'll be a lot less maintenance regardless of whether it's public or private.
Okay. Any other questions of?
Yeah, you just made a comment. Now, the lots that actually back onto Red Ember that you're developing, they're not going to own out to the center of Red Ember, are they?
No, we're going to make that portion a tract.
Okay, so you're going to make that a right-of-way?
It'll be a tract, whether it's I guess it would be a private
Deeded
right-of-way.
right-of-way?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay. All
A
right.
tract dedicated to who? The homeowner association?
The homeowners association, and it's 70 feet wide, so it's a big tract.
But everybody's got rights, the homeowners
Yes.
on down the way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm good.
Anybody else? No? Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Any comments by the board?
No.
If not, anybody want to make a motion or?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 agriculture and PD plan development to PD plan development, and approve the associated development order and master development plan for approximately 50.49 acres located on the east side of Old Lockwood Road, 1/2 mile south of Lockwood Boulevard.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No one, motion carries. Again, let me remind you, some of you that may be opposed or whatever, this goes before the county commission. Please check the dates. Okay, that completes our agenda. Mary, you have any report you want to comment on?
First of all, I want to thank the board for their patience. We obviously had some technical difficulties. We're trying our best down these unprecedented times to try to ensure that we have public participation with everybody.
Yep.
The comments will be available. You could listen to you could attend in person, you could listen on STTV, and those who made comments were available to make comments in the chat feature, and those will be included as part of the public record. It's not an ideal situation situation, but we're trying the best with the technology that we have available.
No problem.
I would also like to point out that we have your 2021 proposed
We have it.
schedule.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is the last
We've
meeting
already
of the year.
voted on this, haven't we?
No.
Didn't we already vote on this schedule?
We have not. Tonight's the night to
No?
vote on it, to make changes.
Anybody want to make a motion to accept this schedule as provided?
I'll make a motion to accept it as provided.
All right, is there a second? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, there's our schedule.
All right.
And that concludes my closing business.
Pardon me?
And that concludes my closing
Okay.
business.
And we are looking forward to another beautiful year.
Thank you all. Everybody have a great holiday, great Christmas.
Yeah.
You too.
And we'll see you in the new year.
January.